Live from the Rez, here with special guest, Mr. Shane Norte in the house. How you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good, brother. Glad to come up in here again, and it's just good to be back in the Live from the Rez joint. Hey.
Yeah, the studio's coming up, too, man. It's good to have you back, and we'll talk about all the things that been since, last time I seen you to now. A lot of stuff's gone down. And good, exciting stuff. And you brought a guest, a friend, Mr. Mark Matz himself in the house.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. How are you doing today?
Great, doing well,
good,
man.
We're matching here, man, with the beards a little bit. Although mine, this is the most beard I've ever had in my life. This is my COVID beard. And I've never been able to grow facial hair until like a couple years ago. And then I started to having to actually really shave and do it. And then when everything got locked down last year, it was kind of like, well, I'm going to let it grow out. And so it took me like 2 months. Looked all it don't even look good now, but it really looked bad. And then it was weird because as a couple months went in, it started to grow out, and then it started to lighten. And next thing you know, it's like all these gray hairs turning into white hairs, and now I got I don't know, man. People were like, "Oh my god, you don't even look like yourself." And then when I put a beanie on, and depending on how I dress, people start giving me money and free food, and when I sit on the ground, they think I'm homeless or something.
Yeah, that's cool. Goddamn COVID.
Yeah. Are you okay? And I always joke around that I came back down the mountain from Mount Sinai, with my Moses look.
Yeah.
All you people are sinners.
Yeah. Going back. Yeah.
But your beard's a lot better than mine, sir, so I salute you for that. You got a nice little chin hair, too. Not too bad.
Yeah, somewhat. A little patch, eh?
It is winter. Got to stay warm.
Oh, yeah.
So, speaking of the changing seasons, the changing times, I know you have your ceremony and all the things that you do, your church that you got going on over there in La Jolla Rez and really beyond. I see that. Congratulations, you're a board member now up there in Oakland. All the things going on with all that. And before you talk about all that, I got to ask, does the weather mess you guys up? It's cold out there.
Yeah, it gets pretty chilly out there. Toes be getting cold. And shit, yeah, it be getting cold. And got to wrap up in the Pendletons, eh?
Yeah, it's like San Diego. It's like we get a month maybe or something where we have to it's real cold, you know, and then maybe like a couple weeks where it's too hot. Yeah, it's a good place to do ceremony for sure, man. Mm-hmm. So what's going on? What's going on up in with Oakland and your board position and all of that?
Yeah, no. So recently last year got boarded in on the board of Decriminalizing Nature Oakland, who unanimously decriminalized mushrooms and other ethnogenic plants back in June of 2019. And no, man, it's just been rocking, just being part of the communities, getting more in base with, medicine type people who are wanting to engage in medicine healing and plant-based work. And it's been a hell of a journey, man. Like I said, just this past year alone, a lot of movement, a lot of momentum, a lot of different people, a lot of setups, avenues, adventures, good people. Got a good brother over here, Mark, met him along the journey, and now, we've just been killing it, basically, in a real way, just getting people to come down and express healing, and then honestly kind of get this movement moving, because, a lot of it is working good. Like, more cities are decriminalizing, more cities are creating, platforms so where they can create healing spaces. Like Oakland, they just recently passed the OCHI initiative, which is basically to have ceremonies within the city limits, and they just unanimously passed that to have that done. So definitely people are making moves out there, and it's good to be a part of that and to actually be one of the key aspects of it as a Native person, because like I said, in the movement, there's no natives. I mean, there's natives in the works of understanding people and working with certain groups and organizations, but to be an actual Native at the forefront and knowing the people who are I always say the big dogs, which whatever. But I just like to make fun of it, and just have fun. But at the end of the day, some serious work, good work. And now I'm looking to, break avenues for not only our people, the veteran community, and just people in general. Like I said, the Church of the People, poor Creator Mother Earth. It's not to any one person, but the people. And shit, we're all the people. So it's been working good, man. And I love it, man.
I want to say last time you came in here, it was still there's been a lot of change in it being taboo to talk about alternative medicines, or in throughout the nation, we're seeing decriminalization and legalization of marijuana, of a lot of different things, right? And so people are having that discussion, having that conversation. Is this something that's recreational, or is it medicine? That And then in particular the mushrooms and the other things that are out there, hallucinogens. People are actually having those conversations, and it's kind of interesting to see that since the last time you've been here. I know it was like almost taboo to even talk about those things because there is a legal ramification at that time. It's like you start talking about it, you don't know if someone's going to hear that and come, try to search you out and I don't know, try to criminalize you for going in that direction. But now things have been that taboo is kind of going away because now it's not criminalized as much or at all, right? Those things are going away. People can have those real conversations. I've seen your circle grow on Instagram and on the different things. I know a lot of the stuff you don't film. I know a lot of the stuff you don't record. But just seeing your circle, as you guys prep, do all the things that go into a ceremony prior to the actual ceremony, right? I've seen that grow, and that's been pretty cool to see. Do you feel like when you have conversations with people, like they're more open to listening to it now?
I think they've always been open just because it's a cool avenue to like hear, I think, a native actually express like culture, ceremony. But as for me, I kind of had to go through like this phase of like, I guess you could say gathering the right people. Cause I mean, myself, I already knew, but I got to test things. So like I started gathering different people to come, and then now like, it's kind of like no questioning it. I mean, now I work with my brother Mark over here, and then like him being a part of the certain ceremonies and the amount of ceremonies we've been, the people we brought in, like, man, it's so beautiful. And to now like kind of be like we're here, you know what I mean? Like you got all these other, like I said, big dogs out there, doing their thing, but it's like we're some big dogs too. And I'm not saying that in like I'm trying to say that in a funny, humbly way, just to say like we're working too. You know what I mean? We're working with people that are going through things that need healing, that have been through some of the things, like my brother here, being in the military. Like I always tell people, like there's some things that military people have seen that I can never see. Just for instance, like some symbols, like not simple, but let's say you get blown up in a car. Like there are many military men that have been through that, women as well. And it's like, shit, I've never been blown up in a car. You know what I mean? I've never been shot at crazily. You know what I mean? I've never been like, so it's like there's certain things. And then also on the res, that's what I'm trying to say with the res. There's certain traumas on the res that like, whether it's suicide, whether it's substance abuse, addiction, violence, when you name it, there's so many things that go on. And I think now, like, to be able to have a platform to, like, be like, hey, like, maybe we need to come back to ceremony. Maybe it's time to start going back into our ceremonial ways because obviously what we have here today, it's not helping us. It's putting our kids in the grave. It's putting, people down. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, the way I see ceremony, it always uplifted you. It always gave you something, whether it was good or bad, because in that good or bad, like, you learned a lesson. Like, you learned a damn good lesson, too. And it's like, if you didn't appear, then there's a reason why something happened to you, too, And I think that's where we need to get our people back, whether it's men and women, because I think those ceremonial aspects taught them both how to be. And I think that's something that we're missing now. All reservations. Yeah, there's reservations that are going to be like, oh, yeah, we still have ceremonies and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, well, look at your youth. Look at the substance abuse. Look at the lack of concentration towards ceremony and language and culture. And it's like you can go to a res that is so in the culture, but yet the reality is the culture really is not in there. And it's like that's where, for me, I want to be able to have that for our people, not just my family and my kids, but for my people. And then hopefully other natives can be like, God damn it, I come from ceremony too. And I miss my ceremonies and I need my ceremonies back and I fucking want them back. You know what I mean? And that's like where I think through this, to show natives like, hey, like we've always been about plant medicine. We've always been about plants and healing. Like before these stigmas and things were ever placed on us, like every native used plants. You know what I mean? Every native had medicines. Every native was like accustomed to like plant health. You know what I mean? So that's something that I think is very important to bring back, especially with like the lack of diet and everything. And all our native people know, we know like we need better things. So like for me, like for the tribes that have money, like why the hell can't we invest in organic farming? Why the hell can't we invest in like mental, physical, and spiritual healing for our youth? Elder, middle age, like we have enough money to literally create a whole new health like care system for our people, and then also be a model to the world that is now stepping into this holistic medicine healing world.
Yeah, That's one thing I've kind of seen in my young life. Hey, my gray beard showing right now. But is that, you know, when people talk about culture, it's always like song dance, you know, and it's or history or like these old stories. We kind of limit ourselves as to like what is our old culture, what is our spirituality, you know, what was the life, what was a healthy life generations back moving forward. You know, we've gone through so much trauma, generational trauma with the boarding schools and, you know, just all the different things that have happened to all of our people everywhere, whether it's here in San Diego or middle of the country, up in Canada, all around. Indigenous people had to deal with all of these hardships. And so prior to all that, we lived healthy lives. And then we're here now, you know, trying to live those healthy lives again, trying to figure out what that is. Well, what is that? You know, and it's not just speaking your language, which makes you feel strong and make you feel, you know, that's a part of it, but it's not just that. It's not just singing your songs and dancing your dances, which connect you to your, you know, for us, connects us to our ancestors and our creation, and you feel good, and it's physically uplifting and spiritually uplifting. It's not just that. It's more. It's right. It's like there's more parts to it, and that spirituality part is a part that I would argue probably connects to everything. But that's another part of it. You know, these ceremonies that we have. Whether it's puberty ceremonies, death ceremonies, marriage ceremonies. We have so many ceremonies to understand life, to get us to learn, to grow, to heal and deal with hardships that come to us. And it's like a lot of those were what were taken away from our people. So now as a people, we're trying to like repair ourselves as individuals or as a group. It's like, how do we do that? How do we come together and do that? And I do think our language and our songs and our stories and our philosophies, and I think all of that helps. I think it's all part of it. But I don't know that it's all of it. I think that the ceremonies are a big part of it. And I know that's what you're out there doing. You're doing these ceremonies too. And it sounds like you have a need right now to do that ceremony like that. I know you talked about, or you mentioned, in our region here, for those of you out there, we're here in Southern California. If you've never been down this way, we have a lot of reservations. Some are do very well economically because of the casino business or industry, or other industries, tourism. And then other reservations, you know, are not economically as well off as we are. But you go res to res, one commonality that we're all seeing in our area is that we have a huge crisis when it comes to the opioids. Like, you know, COVID, everyone's talking COVID, but reality, what's really
we're dying more than COVID.
Yeah, that's what's killing us right now is those opioids. Mm-hmm. And in particular, it's not the elderly, it's our youth, our young adults. They're the ones that are succumbing to that. And it's widespread. And, you know, there's historical, you can look into why people are locked onto that. I mean, it's really happening throughout America with the pharmaceuticals and all of that. In particular, as natives, there's history as to why our youth are taking those pharmaceuticals. You know, it has a lot to do with my back hurts. Here's some. We make jokes about it now. Here's your ibuprofen 800s. You know what I mean? All the clinics are giving out the IV 800s. We kind of joke about it because that's their cure to everything. But the problem is when you're throwing out those IV 800s and then you're throwing out the other medications, the pills like that, you're throwing out the cough syrups when someone's got a cold, all of these things, well, someone's taking them. Right? And maybe not grandma or grandpa, they might take some and put it away, but now it's in the home, and now there's an opportunity to abuse those substances. And so we've seen throughout Indian country that be the thing that's happened. And in our area, like I said, we've been affected by COVID. I don't want to say we're not or haven't been, but by far, we've been more affected by the opioid crisis happening. And so to me, that shows a need, that there needs to be more healing done, that there needs to be more done, whether it's ceremony, getting back to our traditions. Maybe it's just a conversation. Maybe it means I was at an elder's house earlier, and she was saying, you know, I was told, she was telling me, she goes, you know, I was told that from my mom that anytime anything happened in this community, the community would go there and ask, you know, not to be nosy, but to say, are you okay? There was an ambulance, there was a medical, if someone passed away, if someone anything, the reservation, families would send a representative to that home to say, are you guys okay? Do you need anything? They were checking in on each other. It was the tradition of this valley. She said in her day she's seen that's how it was. You know, you go to a fiesta or a gathering, and the parents are there boozing, drinking, doing whatever, and the little kid's running all crazy. They said people would just take the kid home. Some woman would go and grab that kid and say, I'm taking him home, you know, feed him, take care of the kid, make sure the kid was good. And then when those parents, sobered up or whatever, they'd come back and get their kid because you didn't want the kid to just be left like that. You took care of the kid. And if the kid was messing up, well, you go there and spank the kid too, even if it wasn't your kid, or you do whatever punishment, whatever. You took care of the kid. The community took care of itself. Now, I don't know if we've gotten away from that maybe. So I think there's a lot of things at play maybe, but I definitely feel like ceremony is a big part of that. Big slice. We're missing it, Something needs to be done.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why I just see it in the Wamkish alone, like just through me, like for instance, splitting fruit with my brothers after a ceremony, like that right there is community in itself, like just coming over together over food, you know what I mean, or representing something of that nature, just what like natives used to always do, you know what I mean, like ceremonies, gathering over food, and that's something that I'm like witnessing. That's why when I get some of these funds in, that's what I want to do is like a little food drive, but also in that moment, kind of let the people know like, there's other things here than just your tribal government to like fall back upon. Like there's people here that are just like you, looking to offer something more than what like this tribal government can offer you. Like whether it be food, water, like in ceremony, shit, hell. I was laughing because like my tribe fucking like, it's not even my tribe because I'm not even enrolled, but I still call it my tribe. But like when they do the emergency packages, like I saw literally they went to every house and it's like they fucking just drive by all slow by mine and then they skip it and it's like, oh yeah, because he's not enrolled, and it's like, fucking like I'm the only one here holding down the Wamkish, the traditional like lodge. Like you should be bringing me like fucking food and water, everything is like, and yet you're the only one to pass me up just because you're like, oh, he's from Morongo, he gets per cap, he's not from here, and it's like, go show the respect you guys have for your own people, you know what I mean? And I was just like, fucking haters, eh? But no, that's the kind of thing that I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Like,
all hungry.
Back in the day, it's like everyone would have helped out the medicine person, you know what I mean? And then to see that, I'm like, dude, like, you guys are just showing your whole outlook as a whole people, because it's like you're not even caring for your people. Like, you're caring for your people, but at minimum wage, and I know La Jolla doesn't have a lot of money, but I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Like, and that's why I want to do my food drive, because I want to show my people, like, I care for you in a good way. Like, whether it's giving you some organic fruits or vegetables, whether it's giving you fucking fresh spring water, whatever. But it's like, I'm not going to be giving you fucking, like, bleached flour and chips and candy and, like, bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
One
like,
of the tribes almost got win. I heard their food. I heard their care packages was a bunch of desserts. I was like, oh no, come on, man. This is like we're a group of people that get diabetes like proportionally high. You know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to be giving out desserts to each other. Let's give some healthy foods. But man, I heard that. I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so that's why I want to.
But our definition of who the people are. Yeah, it's for the people. But that definition. Yeah, I want to say that we've gotten pretty colonized on that definition of what people is, I'm sure, like, in a more traditional way would have been, like, all the people that are here right now, when you try to feed everybody evenly, like, try not to eat in front of people without offering them, and my tribe, your tribe, too, you're related in, but Kumeyaay, where it's like our greeting is Helka, I share my fire with you. You come over here, you come in from another village, you walked in, and you're going to stay, it's a cold night tonight. I'm not just going to make my fire and say, oh, hi, you can sleep over there. I'm actually going to give you some of my fire so you don't have to sit there and try to make one, because it's, it could be hard to make a fire. So you give them that, and, you give them some food, give them some water. It's a gesture. And that goes back to our creation story. It taught us that the Creator gave to us, like gave of himself to us to have life, to animate us. And so you have to have that giving spirit a little bit if you can, So even in our greeting, it's like that. We say, Hauka. And I always think that's pretty tight. Not a lot of, I don't know what hello means in English, but I think like Hauka, like, man, that's fire.
That's
like,
tight. Yeah, that's
fire is in our greeting. Like,
that's awesome.
That's mighty, man. So, Mr. Mattz, how did you come into this story, man? How did you meet this guy? You guys hanging out somewhere at the club or what?
Yeah, we linked up through mutual circles. So I got into some of the plant medicine work, and then through that, I just had some ideas to start this concept of Guardian Grange, doing regenerative agriculture and like ecological restoration, and using that to have veterans, as a therapy, as a way of healing and reconnecting with the land, and also building community and doing cool things. And then so our bro Carlos up in Oakland, like I sat down and express this. And then he's like, hey, my bro Shane down in San Diego runs these ceremonies. Would you like to show up? You know, so me and a couple bros rode out there and showed up and had a ceremony and just kind of hit it off because we're on surfing the same wavelength, you know, as far as like trying to do good things, be honest people, you know. We come from various backgrounds of trauma, but still like keeping the fire within to like be good people and to help other people in their times of need and like find their fire, find, you know, light the trail, a path for them to get out of the dark valley or whatever they're in. So
do you feel like as a veteran, do you feel like there's enough talk like amongst veterans? Like, do people reconnect with their old buddies and talk about these the PTSD and the traumas that come from service? Or is there kind of a silence that's put on that? Like, you're not supposed to talk about it. There's a lot of silence, but since it's happened so much now, like everyone knows someone who's died. Like I had a personal friend, roommate, just go out that way when I was there, and so, you know, everyone has some kind of connection to it. So it's forced its way into conversation essentially, but. Yeah. So some people are more open about it. Some people are still guarded because, you know, it's the whole thing about death for a lot of people. That's like an uncertainty. So there's a lot of like people just don't want to even go there in their head. Yeah. So that's what I find about, you know, being around the fire and going through that ceremony internally, that you can, connected to God, experience answers beyond what words could ever describe, or beyond, you know, even art. Like art can approach certain things, but just to have that like feeling of just like the sun on your skin, like you can write about it all day, but unless you really feel it, then you know. And that's kind of like what these fires are about, these ceremonies. An experience, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Think about the sun on your skin is like, even if you feel it or don't feel it, you're still getting that vitamins from it. Yeah. Even deeper than you know.
Yeah,
I think ceremonies like that, you feel it. You can't sometimes you can't express it or you can't explain it, but there's like there's a hidden goodness too, I think, to a lot of that stuff.
Hidden gem waiting for you.
Yeah, I think that's good stuff. You know, and I maybe that's what the old ones, you know, the ones that really knew everything, they understood that better than everybody. Maybe that was their little secret. I don't know, but I know that they always people talk about the negative side of that too, like, you know, things being like bad luck or bad this or bad medicine, people say, or good medicine. And sometimes I think of it's like that too. It's kind of like that sun that you don't know the hiddens behind it, you know?
Yeah, that's what is important, like to work with good people if people are in this space, you know, people who are honest. And, you know, like I've always been able to read people, you know, but I realize some people have a harder time, you know. They walk on a car sales lot and get sold a lemon or something because they didn't see the dude was all about his self. But so if I ever got that vibe in a medicine space, I wouldn't stay in that energy because it's kind of like that bad medicine stuff. So I stick to just honest people, and that's why I stuck around with Shane too, because he's an honest, good person doing legitimate, strong work, you know.
I've come into, my nephew's a veteran. He went to Afghanistan and he served and he did some stuff. He was over there for a while, and I think that's where I really kind of hit home. I kind of needed someone close to you to experience some of this stuff, to kind of like really see it. My grandpa was in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. So my dad would kind of explain to me a little bit of what we now call PTSD and all the different associated traumas and all that stuff. I mean, even just leaving your family when you're young like that, just kind of find yourself as a man, and then whether you do any kind of crazy service or not, and then that can be traumatizing for a young person. So there's a lot of that goes on to a person's psyche at that time, you know. And so I kind of learned that through my dad, and he would kind of explain to me things and friends that he had, and you know, some that really went down dark trails and stuff. And I know there was times where, like, you know, different kind of movies and different kind of things, you know, he would he kind of steer away from, or, you know, to kind of explain to me. He just had a different look at life, you know.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And as a young guy on the res here, it's kind of like I get some of that, but not really. You know, you can't really understand it. But I will say this is, like, being on the res, you deal with a lot of different traumas too that you don't have off the res. You know, and I realized that when we were working outside the reservation, and I'd come across people and they've never been to a funeral. And it's like, oh man, we go to them like every other couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know, sadly, you know, like they're at weddings. I've been to like 2-3 weddings in my life, but I've been to hundreds of funerals. You know, that in itself can be traumatizing. Inside, you know,
for sure.
Like people never, you know, they never seen someone get beat up, or they themselves never been punched or been in a fight. And it's like, well, I grew up around this res. Everybody was fighting. Like it was just like it was so normal to settle problems with your fist, and so we all got little nicks on our face and knuckles and all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, I've seen people get stabbed. I've seen people fire guns off. I know people who've murdered people. I know people who have gone to jail for rape and all these crazy heinous things. Yeah, and it's kind of like, oh, no, that's so-and-so. I know how they are, you know.
Yeah.
Don't put your kids near them, but you know how they are. But they're still in the community. They're still there. And it's like every family has something like that. So that's a trauma that's hit every single family as well. Because if your brother, your mom, your aunt, cousin, whoever it is in your family got in trouble, well, there's the courts, there's the cops coming to arrest him, you see all of these things go through your family, and it's traumatizing. You deal with that. It gets become normal. And but that's something that people on the outside don't always seem to understand or have experienced. So to me, as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized, like, wow, we do have our own sets of kind of traumas here in our communities. You know, my community is beautiful, it's safe, it's peaceful. I'll walk down on the other side right now in the middle of the night, and I know I'm safe. But you know, that's because I grew up here and I feel home here. I feel safe. I feel all of these things. But it doesn't mean there's not violent people. I could go to someone's house right now and I know they're violent. You know what I mean? I can go to someone right now who would be willing to go steal something maybe, or all of these other crazinesses.
Yeah.
But on the outside, I don't think it's like that. But then I think military, guys that have seen combat or been through like hard shit, I feel like they're like on a whole nother life almost.
Yeah, because, you know, especially if you're in actual war, you know, in a combat zone where like there's people just constantly trying to figure out how to kill you and vice versa, and defending, you know, I describe it as, like, for me personally, everyone is not this way, but like I had a great sense of peace in war just because I was so present in each moment, and just I was also ready to die if it was my time, you know. I was at peace with that, so I didn't, you know, I realized a lot of people fear that, but because I didn't have that thing pulling at me, I was just there to do my work and just be present and accept what the path that I had, you know, laid before me. So
yeah, it kind of kept you.
But I mean, I've you know, had buddies blown up and shot and all that stuff, but you know, it's part of what we signed up to go do at the same time. So it's like, you know, if you go climb rocks, you have a risk of falling off the cliff too. So not that it makes it any less sad or anything, but we all knew what we signed up, and that was a possibility. So yeah,
let me tell you though, that you guys signed up for that, but sometimes the family don't, you know.
For sure, no, absolutely, absolutely.
I was here at the casino one time. I'll tell you one of my old drinking stories. Hey, I don't drink. I've been drinking years, but when I used to, I'd get kind of wild. But no, one time we were drinking, having a good time. I was with my brother and my sister-in-law and my wife and I. We were all there. You know, a bunch of us from the res were there, and my sister-in-law got a call. And when she was told over the phone, all I know, she's on the phone, and next thing you know, they're crying and all upset and everything. It's like, what's going on? They called her and said, you know, your son has been in an explosion. We can't give you any information now, but he's still alive, you know. But, you know, the information is kind of like limited at this time, but we're going to let you know. I mean, it's like, how do you call someone's mom and say, hey, your son's been blown up. We can't tell you, you know, he's alive, but we can't tell you much more.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was okay, you know. Yeah. He physically was okay. Mentally, he'd have to deal with that because, you know, it's not normal for a person to get blown up. You have to deal with that. And when you have friends and people you work with who are blown up, you have to deal with the aftermath of that. That's hard. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I learned that part of it where I said, wow, that's it's intense for the family, because I was worried. I was like, man, I hope my nephew's all right. And we were having such a good time, and it just like breaks. Yeah. I was like, oh man, next thing I'm drinking, I'm all crying, oh, he's okay, you know. But that, you know, it's just the worry behind it. And then, you know, time went on, he got out, and then seeing him kind of get back to normal, you know, and having a strong work ethic. It's like, hey, you can chill back, man. This ain't the military. You can relax. You can sleep in, bro, you know, but, you know, strong work ethic and just the different things that I know. I could just see him. He was kind of working his way back to what needed to be a healthy, good life, you know, happy life, you know, which we all kind of take for granted if you're not in that mindset. But then, you know, I start hearing, you know, he's there for the troops, you know, and like as a veteran, something's going on with the troops or with the patriotism. And I'm not always the most outwardly patriotic person, so I don't keep track sometimes, unless it's on my social media feed. But he lets me know things, and he was the guy who told me the big difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. I kind of didn't know. He goes, no, this isn't for us that are walking. This is for those who have passed on. And I never knew that. I just, thank you for your service. He's like, no, you don't think, so things like that. It was a learning. But I did see like through him and his I met some of his people he served with and stuff. See stuff on social media like the push-up challenge where they talk about the amount of people who have taken their life. I never knew that was such an issue, and it's a huge issue. How do we not talk about our military people committing suicide at such a higher rate than everybody else? I think it's 1.5 times or something like that. I forget the number. I want to say like 17 a day or something.
They say 22 a day.
22 a day.
That's what they say.
I might have only done 17 push-ups, so my bad. I'll get those later. I'm just kidding. But now there's like a big number like that. And those are all lives. Those are all people who dedicated themselves to this nation. And the war didn't end, or the struggle, the hardship didn't end when they got back, And it's like we're supposed to be trying to take care of each other. And I don't know that we don't want to. I think sometimes we don't know a way to.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable for people to talk about things that they don't understand. So death and they don't want to dive into those corners of their mind to have that conversation and reflection, well, why did this happen? Really, you know what I mean? Because it's beyond just the act of however they went out. There's things that led to that point in life, moving through time, and there's passion's one, especially for as a vet, being I was in the SEAL teams, and I was very passionate about that work, and then you get out, there's not an equivalent necessarily that's easy for you to see, but there is. You just kind of have to reframe, and that's for instance, me, I found my passion was just let's heal the planet and the people, and use veterans as a resource to help out in that process, since we're here and we're good people, and we've willing to get our hands dirty in a good way. So I think we just, if it's more comfortable, it'll be talked about more, you know what I mean? Especially, and that's what these ceremonies help out with too, is people can face those questions for themselves and not have to have someone tell them or read about something that you don't truly understand, but you can just have the feeling, just like the sun on your skin, of hey man, here's how it is, and you can have some peace from that.
So for you, it's almost like you could even go testimonial on this one. For you, this has helped you a lot to do these ceremonies like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I had a buddy pass. History Channel did a documentary on it. It's called, his name's Rob Guzzo, and the show is The Warfighters. But anyway, talked about his story, and we're good bros. And he was we were in a platoon together over in Ramadi, Iraq, and did work. And after service, after he got out, he ended up just taking his life. And 2012 on Veterans Day, 2000. So after, but and then I had to do things like you had to get on the phone with his dad and say what happens, and it's heavy stuff. So kind of threw me to this loop of just not really giving a fuck about anything, but I always kept myself kind of grounded in nature. So I just walk alone in the woods or on the beach, or hang out with my dog or whatever, and just sit in the pain and the uncertainty, and then just kind of found my way back to life and passion through these types of medicines and these types of ceremonies, So it really helped. And I've seen other friends, good people who come in to these ceremonies who are just honestly, man, I'm just ready to fucking check out. And then to see them the day after have some fire, maybe not completely 100% better, but a solid chunk better, and to where they have man, I'm excited to be alive, to just take another breath, and to have more gratitude in just being alive is huge. It inspires people to find some purpose to live, because breathing's fucking cool,
Yeah, even one more day.
Yeah.
That concept of just one more day is a miracle in itself, when you're going through that. The idea that, because people want this big, I don't know, big moment, like, you know, I had this ceremony and a big epiphany and like fireworks, but it's like sometimes just going, you know what, I'm going to be okay to get up tomorrow morning and be okay.
Yeah.
That is the big
That's
fireworks.
the bit. Yeah. If you can be, I always say, like, if you can be comfortable sleeping in a bush, like, you know, if I lost everything, like I can go sleep in a bush and be happy with just me and the earth. And I can go hunt and I can fish and I can live. I know how to be a human being. And I think since a lot of that, like even sitting around fires, like a lot of people don't sit around fires or don't connect with nature in that way. So they're like, the human part of them is just kind of deteriorated, you know? Yeah. And they have that disconnection there. So this helps like reconnect, you know, make a little bit more whole, or see like if you're a pie, like, oh, you get a little piece of the pie back. It's like, oh man, I missed that piece.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's cool. I always tell people when like, you know, like on social media, I got to get off that thing. That in itself will stress you out. But on social media, you come across people and they're very like, I'm depressed, you know, I'm not feeling good, or I can't sleep, I'm an insomniac. Like, these are common things I see all the time. And it's rough because it's kind of like, I mean, it's hard to tell somebody what to do to help them, you know what I mean? Because you can't help somebody else. You kind of got to help themselves. And you don't know their real situation as to why they're having the struggles they have, you know? And so it's hard to just be like, oh, do this, you know, like, and solve their problem. That's not realistic, you know? But that being said, I feel like a lot of those people, they would get so much out of just like unplugging themselves and going for a walk in nature. Go find a nice hiking area. Yeah. People hear hiking, they think you got to put on these big boots, wool socks, and have a stick and go up on the side of a mountain. You can just go out in nature where it's kind of flat. There's a lot of nice flat trails out there. Go walk around, maybe stop midway, take off your shoes, connect with the earth, actually feel it. You know, there's that, I think they call it grounding. Yeah. I believe 100% in that stuff. 100%. And getting that fresh air, I think there's something to the fresh air. Hits your brain and you breathe better and the oxygen's there is better and you get better thoughts, you know, and you get all those chemicals pumping, you know, in your body and you feel good and you can, and just being away and having a time to sort your thoughts out and just getting your blood flowing. Every time I've had great hardship in life, I did like kind of what you were saying, probably not as far as you were walking, but yeah, get into nature and just walk, you know, 2-3 miles and then do that every day. And if you can't walk that, walk a quarter mile, walk to the mailbox and back, you know? Yeah. Just find somewhere, go to a park, take a lap. But the hardest part is, of course, getting out of your house, you know, getting in that car, getting there, whatever you're going to do. But if you could just get yourself there. Show up, man. Oh, it's worth it. God. You don't have to go to the gym and put 2 hours and do the selfie. Yeah. If you want to, great. But I mean, just drive to a park and take 2 laps around your car and drive home if that's where you're starting out. You know, it's better than nothing. But yeah, once you show up and you do that, I saw something, or maybe someone said it, but it was something along the lines of like, I've never gone and worked out and then felt bad about it after. You know, it's like you always feel good when you're done. It's just getting there, showing up. And I think that's 100% true. It's 99% true because one time I pulled a muscle working out too hard. I didn't feel good about working out that day, but generally, yeah, you go for a walk and you feel good, you know, and you get your mind clear, and it's nature. It's just nature doing it, and that's such a small form of something that can self-heal, self-take care of yourself. Just you're just by yourself doing that. You don't need to go see somebody, or you don't need to do all of these crazy, you know, pills or whatever that they're going to try to. Yeah, hang out with yourself for a minute. Hang out with yourself for a minute, yeah. And I know that, like, for me, there's been times in my life I've done some ceremonies where I've gone out and gone without food and water and things like that, been in nature by myself. And it's like you do that for a while, a day or two, and it kind of starts coming to you, whatever it is, get a feeling, and you have some clarity, some understanding. And the ceremonies I've been part of are all kind of like that. You put yourself in it, and then it comes to you, you know? And it's like, that's such a different thing other than like, you know, as opposed to you take some pills and, you know, every day, every morning and every night, and everything works out. Their mind's always racing too because they're trying to figure it out the whole time, as opposed to just like letting go and just emptying the vessel so the the wisdom can come in. Yeah. Exactly. That's what your ceremonies do. Yeah, right? That's exactly what I was just about to say. Is basically that's where I'm trying to take it. Because, like I said, not everyone has to do it, because there are strong-minded people who are already pushing towards health, to eating right, to this, to that. So it's like, not everyone has to goddamn come and hop in this and take mushrooms, whatever the hell people think. That's not the case. But if you need it, it's there. But also,
within that space, like the communities, like I said, it's just time to polish ourselves up. You know what I mean? Whether it's how we talk to each other, how we see each other, how we commune with each other, whatever it may be. I just think there's nothing wrong with bettering that up. Like, I mean, I'm learning that working with my brother, meeting new people, you know, he's bringing. It's like there's nothing wrong with showing up, being humble and respectful, and just fucking being there. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, like, that's something that I think natives kind of need again outside of just, you know, the party scene and the drinking and all that. But to be like, here, like, we're having ceremony, we're having a dinner, we're having this, we're having that. Like, we're having an organic gardening class, we're having a fighting class. So that's something that I was talking to the UFC bros about, was like, you know, if we were to get a gym together, you know what I mean, and get a couple UFC fighters here and there, every whatever, the training camps, I'm pretty sure there would be youth that would be stoked to see, like, real UFC fighters saying, like, hey, you know, you guys want to come do a summer program and train with us on this weekend, or you want to do a whole summer camp and da-da-da-da-da. Like, and then even adults would be like, I know I would. Shit, I wouldn't mind going and learning how to box up better and, you know, get healthier, and then also build communities. Because, like I said, in that time, you can start adding the healthy meals. You can start doing the good water. You can start doing all that. And then, like I said, after all that, then can come the other things. So that's where, for me, I don't necessarily want tribes, because I already know tribes. I tried talking to my tribe already, Morongo, and they're all scared, you know. Oh, it's federal. It's a federal Schedule 1, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, dude, like, this shit is going to be $1 billion market. Like, I'm telling you, by 2030, the mushroom market is going to be bigger than the casinos. So it's like, look, why not make some money, but also heal ourselves in the process and revamp our culture back? Because it's like, for me, as much work as I've done, I just know in SoCal, like, we could use a little more culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and me and you both know that, you know what I mean? Being SoCal natives, like, there's nothing wrong with having more culture for our people. You know what I mean? And, like, that's where I think the Wamkish could be an important role, because considering, like, we are some of the oldest people here, just like your people. You know what I mean? And it's like, these things need to be honored. Just like, who's to say you guys can't bring back old ceremonies that haven't been done in freaking forever? You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure, you know, you guys have a lot of ceremonies, too, that aren't practiced nowadays. You know what I mean? That could possibly help us out, or all of us, or you guys just personally, whatever it may be. But for my goal, is to just show our people, like, hey, you know, we have all this money. Why not invest in our health now? Why not invest? Because the gaming's there. The gaming's there. The gas station's there. You know, all the shit's there that we have. And it's not going nowhere unless they just cut oil and legalize gambling. But even then, we have enough resources and money to back us up. So for me, it's like, why not start investing in our health? And why not start investing, like, in our culture back? Because, like, if that shit goes, who else is going to revitalize it for us? It's not like the government's going to be handing out culture programs to our people and being like, hey, you going to want to learn your ceremony? Here's how you do it.
And if it goes away, real talk, like, are we even a people at that point? We lose all of those kind of things, you know? I mean, are we a distinct, separate people? I mean, that's kind of that's a weird conversation anyways, because we're all humans, you know, and there's a human race, they say, and all that kind of stuff, but we're distinct people because of all of those things, because of our ceremony, our language, our culture, or our connection to the land, you know, our family lines and stuff. And it's like, we lose all that. Are we even a people, you know? So it is important to keep that stuff together. I think it's, you know, one thing people forget too when they talk about all this, because I was talking to a bro out in South Dakota area, and he's been actually growing marijuana. I think he's getting slack a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people really are old-minded. We're like, you know, that's illegal, and why are you doing this? And don't mix that with ceremony. And I know that there's kind of a conversation out there, discussion as to, is that medicine? You know, can that be used as medicine? And where should that be brought in? And where is it right and not right? And a lot of the old medicine people are like, well, we've never used that, and we've always looked at that as drug and negative behavior like alcohol, and we kind of put it over there, and this is ceremony, and we keep this. So there's like that older way of thinking, and there's like a new generation coming in going, yeah, but this isn't alcohol. This can be a medicine if done right, if not abused. They're trying to use it. So I know a guy over there who's been growing his own crops, and he's been, I don't know all the science behind it, but he's doing everything to extract the THC.
Tender love and care.
Yeah, the TLC. He's making the waterfalls, but no, the THC, and he's pulling out the CBDs. He's you know, separating them and doing all that. And his thought process is, we should be harvesting this so we can give our elders medicine for for all the different ailments they have, in particular like arthritis, you know. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, I've never smoked marijuana in my life. I've never I'm probably the only dude on this whole res, maybe. I don't know. I never smoked in my whole life. I've never I've never partaken in that stuff. But you know, a few years ago, I got a CBD lotion, and my forearm was just dead. And usually, I was taking like 2 Motrins a night, a couple in the morning. And I was saying, you know, I was taking all the pills, and I know that stuff's bad for you, you know. But it's like my forearm, I was swollen. Mm-hmm. So my nephew, and he smokes. He goes, "Oh, Uncle, I need to take you down to the dispensary spot and get you some lotion." I'm like, "No, Nev, I don't need none of that stuff." He goes, No, you don't have to get the stuff that you know. I'll show you. And I was like, all right, I'll go down with you just to kind of scope it. I just want to have experience. Went in there, I was like, oh, this place is interesting. I'm asking the dude. He probably thought I was a cop, but I was asking him all the questions about everything. Yeah. He was like, he looked like he was kind of stoned at the moment. He was like answering, then he kind of stops and goes like, why do you want to know all this? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm just curious. But anyways, I ended up getting a lotion, and I put that stuff on, right? Mm-hmm. Or I didn't buy it. It was there. I put it on my arm. And I was like within like a minute or two, it was like, I felt good. I was like, oh my God, that stuff's like, it works. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I feel good. And my nephew's like, get some, I'll buy it. And I was like, so he ended up buying me a bottle of lotion, the CBD. And, you know, there's nobody that could have told me prior to me using it how powerful that stuff was and how good it was. And I mean, to this day, I'm an advocate for it. I tell people, older people, I bought it for my dad, and I don't know if he uses it because he's just over there. But other elders though in the community who have had ailments, shoulders, whatever, I've given them bottles and stuff, and they just said try it, you know, and it works like crazy, you know, your shoulders, your joints, and you know, I know people that have had more injuries and they've got the THC in there, and that's a little bit stronger, and that really, you know, just takes away all of those pains that normally they would take the ibuprofen, they would take the Tylenols, they take all these things that kill their organs, and then they're dying in their 50s from their liver and these organs going out, which everyone goes, oh, it's from back when they used to drink and the, you know, whatever. It's like, no, it's from all these pills you're taking. Yeah. From all these pills, you're just going right through all your filters in your body. You could be taking this, and it's not messing with that at all. And so I had to become a believer. So anyways, he's trying to do that out there. He's harvesting that, and he's getting into the mushrooms. He's doing all these different kind of things. And that was what he was saying. He was saying, why is it that our tribal governments are dragging their feet? Why are they dragging their feet on this? Yeah. They shouldn't be dragging their feet. Those ideas and concepts that we look at, these plants, as whether they're medicine or whether they're criminal or whether they're whatever, we should be identifying that. We should be the ones defining that. You know, that's our part of our sovereignty, our self-governance, that we decide if this is a bad or good thing, if this is good for the people, a healing, a medicine, or if this is the detriment and this is something that we shouldn't welcome into our communities. But instead, we've been told this for so long that we villainized it without even trying it. Yeah. And I gotta say, I did. I villainized a lot of that stuff, the CBD stuff, which now I feel stupid saying that. Like,
for sure, yeah,
CBD
because it's ridiculous. Once you realize.
So ridiculous. Yeah, I'm like, that's what I said. I'm not gonna get all high. Then actually, I felt good. I was like, I told my wife, I think I'm high. She's like, stop it. I'm like, no, I swear, that's I feel really good. Yeah, my nephew's laughing at me because he knows how ridiculous it is. You know, yeah, and he's doing it recreationally or whatever. Yeah. But that being said, it was just a lack of knowledge. So I see that when it comes to the marijuana, the cannabis, the CBDs, THC, all of that kind of the knowledge that's there, people have to learn, you know. And so now that I feel like people know that, like that's kind of the general understanding that people have, average knowledge level. Now the next one's going to be the mushrooms, and I think that people are going to see that has real benefit. I think it's going to be a benefit to military people coming back. And just all the people dealing with traumas.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I wanted to work with, Brother Mark, because it's like, the natives are like one of the most enlisted in the military. And it's like, not only that, but a lot of reservations don't have, like I said, the economic development that we have on some of our residents. Like, a lot of the vets are just tossed out in the streets. A lot of vets don't really have it because the family's like, oh, that's uncle, he's drunk or he's been in the war. And it's like, but they're not really going to him or her and saying like, hey, we're here for you, or like what's going on, you know what I mean? And it's just like, oh yeah, it's just them. And they're outside drunk or they're passing because they're freezing out there or they're getting put in jail and beat down, you know what I mean? And it's like some of these guys have served a high honor and yet they're getting beat down by res cops or other people. And it's like, no, man, you should be able to have a damn center for your fucking vets and your people not only serve the country, but your goddamn res, your community, like, you know, putting on for your people. So it's like, why can't you have a shelter for them to sober up or provide them, you know, fresh water or anything? It's like, you know, it's like, what? Yeah, I mean, you may not like it, but hey, man, that's someone's uncle or aunt, you know what I mean? It's like our mom, our son, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, fucking help them, you know what I mean? If we have enough money, we should be able to provide that care for them or provide them, like, the mental health or the physical or the nutritional, whatever it may be, to give them that option to say, like, hey, like, you know, not only thank you for what you've done, but, like, now we're here as a people to help you, you know what I mean, and give you back, like, whatever it is you need to fucking walk around here, right? Or to be with your kids or, like, to be around your family without there being, you know, so much harsh issues. Because, you know, there's so many issues. My grandma went through that. My great-grandpa was a medic out in Normandy, and he went when he was 18. And he lied, you know. He's actually younger, so it's like he lied, went on the papers, and then went there. And it's like, then to come home with my grandma and all my uncles, and then, like, to not even be there as a father. And, like, there's so many natives that, like, he went through that, and then, like, their whole families got torn to shit because you have a young native, like you said, a young native just leaving their family, getting thrown in the front lines, and then coming back to home like, thank you, and now you're sitting at home with these kids after you just goddamn seen, like, people get blown up and shot at, and now you're just like, yeah, I definitely have a hard time being a dad, too, like, after war, you know what I mean, anything, you know, it's like, natives should actually... we should be putting up for that because we are, like, one of the most enlisted people in the military. So it's like we need to put on for our people, and that's why, like, I'm glad I'm working with the brother. It's like I know non-native vets, the ones that don't get the help, go through the same shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, that'd be a fucking powerhouse to, like, non-natives and vets that are not native to come together and be like, we're going to help each other out, and we're going to not only help each other out, but...
Two traumatized populations.
Yeah.
That's rough, dude.
And both
but it's
see
true.
it, yeah.
Make that good healing.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of makes sense, natives, to be at the forefront of this, for sure. Not just because it's plants, but, like, if you look at the American Freedom Religions Act, I think it was 78, you know, and then it was altered again in 96 for peyote. It's like we have that connection to where we had a plant being used for ceremony and being told that this is illegal, this isn't, you know, this is this should be criminalized. You know, it's kind of demonized and all that. Kind of
older
stuff.
than the entire concept of law.
Yeah, but, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's how long it's been used. You know, and it's like people have used that as medicine, and you know, obviously there's a lot of ceremony behind that and respect and things that are done behind. You know, to
that's
just
what
go
I
out
was
there and
telling
take
him.
it. It's a science. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just take peyote, you'll die.
Yeah,
you gotta,
exactly.
Like, you have to really do it the right way, but. That was why we got our American Freedom of Religions Act, was because of this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And, you know, we weren't getting that freedom of religion. It wasn't just that we couldn't go pray or we couldn't carry feathers, but it was like we couldn't use these plants.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's why I posted that post on the Native Religious Freedom Law Act now, because I was like, most tribes do not flex their religious sovereignty. Most tribes are not, like, demanding protection from the federal government to say, like, you cannot come interfere with our ceremonies and the way of how we practice, because we've been doing this way before you could tell us what to do. And not only that, like, if you're going to uphold every other citizen to the freedom of religion, then we should be included in that too. Because if we can't pray in America, no one can pray in America. And it's like, that should be upheld. You know, just like when we're praying, fucking helicopters flying over our church. Like, goddamn, the Pope was praying, he didn't helicopter going to fly over his church.
It's like
exactly. And it's like, dude, like, we need some damn respect, because we're really trying to help each other out. Like, we're not over here just fucking around. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got a fucking combat veteran, Navy SEAL. I got UFC fighters. I got all these people coming around here, and it's like, we are not playing. You know what I mean? Like, we are not playing around.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to surround yourself with a good crew. I know, but it does take something away when you have aircraft hovering, you know, they come over, and it's like, I've been at ceremonies where that's happened, you know, like in clothes burnings and things like that, and the outside world doesn't realize that we have these ceremonies that involve fire, you know. And here in San Diego, you know, it's like no fires. Well, someone passes away, we do a ceremony with a fire. We're gonna have that fire whether the whole state's on, you know, red alert.
Yeah,
we're gonna have that fire. It's part of our ceremony. That doesn't mean we go out there and just set the field on fire. We take a lot of precautions to make sure it's taken care of, everything's done right, and so we are protected as a ceremonial burn to do these kinds of things, but sometimes our own people are the ones that forget that sometimes, that we have these protections because
that's what I was telling him.
we've been doing this since
natives
time
need to realize they're
Yeah.
native. Like, you come from ceremony, homie.
Yeah, we come
And
from
homegirl.
this. Yeah.
You guys all come from ceremony. Don't act like you ain't ever seen this go down.
And our people did a lot to protect those.
Yeah,
to be able to do
yeah.
that,
And
protect
that's
those
kind of
rights.
like where, for me,
Yeah.
I don't want to goddamn be the fucking, what do you call that? The martyr for everyone to be like, oh yeah, like we got to have our ceremony because our dog went down. Like, nah, hell no.
He's the merciless savage they're talking about in the Constitution.
It's like, yeah, have your dog's back. Don't fucking put him out there for you to be like, hey, man, that's why we don't do that. And like, nah, man, that's why I'm doing it. So y'all can fucking heal and get out of this rut. Like, I know every native's tired of it. I'm tired of it. I know you're tired of it. Like, you know, and we're tired of it. I'm pretty tired of it. You know what I mean? Like, we always say, like, why? What's wrong with being good?
Yeah.
You know, what's wrong with just doing good?
I've noticed you guys said that in your language. You guys are talking about being good. I like it because you've said it a few times, like, you know, eat well, growing good food is what brought you in.
Yeah.
You know, and like living a healthy lifestyle. It's not just, and I think that's a problem too, is people think like you're just, because there are people too, though, but that are just on the drug part. They just, they focus on I want to take shrooms. And that's it. And I'm sure that has a benefit, maybe. I don't know. But it's not. That's not what this is. This is
It's being
beyond
good,
that.
showing up for yourself and
Yeah.
your community and your family, and
Cool.
like being a good human being. There's nothing wrong with being good. That's what we say.
Yeah, that's why I like the Womkish, because it's like Book says, you know, it's a circle of life. It's life and death in there. So you want to know about life, it's going to happen right there. You know,
That's
'cause
cool.
It's like I said, you're born in there, you're cremated in there, puberty right. So that taught us all about life. And to me, it's like, if you're here, well, it applies to you too. Because you're here. You're living here. So it's like, you may not be a skin. And I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying for those that aren't
Sure.
skinned, it's like, you live here. So what makes you think thousands of years of tradition don't apply to you?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, like I was saying before we started recording, when we were just talking, you know, it was like one thing I was told was that, yeah, you know, we're indigenous, so we're gonna have these ways and practices that connect us to all these things. You know, but in particular our land, of course, but we're all indigenous to somewhere, and we're all human. And I think like these ceremonies, parts of them are so ancient and old. They go all the way back to before we were any of the stuff that we see around us right now. You know, just really just pure human. And it's like it really fills a need, you know. And I think that yearning for that, or the fulfillment that ceremony does, I think that all people have that in them, that craves them, that whatever it is that. Because us Indians are always like, oh, we feel it's a good day to be Indian, good day to be alive, good day to die. You know, like you connect to that ceremony, hear our old Indian songs, we feel strong, we feel powerful. Whether we do them or not, we just feel it. You know, it's like that's my ancestors speaking through me and my genetic code. Like,
Yeah.
It's all in my
it's
being,
the spirit,
dog.
it's who I am. Yeah. It's all that. But I'll meet white people come in or like whatever, you know, non-natives, and they're like, man, I feel it too. And it's like, hey, now. This is our stuff. It's like, but they're feeling it in their core too. And I don't know that's because maybe it's not their ancestry speaking to them, but it is their ancestry, you know. And it's like it's because it's very similar probably to what their ancestors had, you know, going back again.
Yeah, everyone
These are
had that.
human ways.
Everyone had fire. Where did you
Everyone
come
had
from?
fire.
Everyone had fire.
For that
Yeah.
white
Fire.
man electricity came fire.
A lot of our tools go way back, far enough back. All of our tools, our stone tools, were all the same. You know, like we as humans got to eat. We as humans got to stay warm. We gotta get too hot. We gotta stay
Wearing
cool.
skins.
We gotta do all these
flints.
human things. You know, and I think that
Some
those
people
ceremonies are
forgot,
so pure, and they hit the point so hard. They hit They hit that bullseye so solid on what a human needs that any human can connect with it. I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's why I like. I've had some natives come into the Womkish, but I've had more non-natives come into the Womkish, and like to see them like be like, hey man, like I fucking get what you guys went through, and I get now like what the fuck happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just like a ceremony we did when we're talking about like the treaties and how the chiefs and the so-called founding fathers would meet up. Like he was saying, like, dude, now we get it. Like it's exactly how they probably felt. Fucking seeing your people, you know what I mean? Even though
That's what we're supposed to be
even
doing.
though you guys were good, it's like they were over here probably like, oh, these fuckers are all out of it. And we're just like, we're here living, dog. Like we're here, you know, trying to be good, and you guys are over here trying to kill us and do all this other shit. And that's kind of like we're now like I'm seeing like now everyone's realizing that kind of they're wrong. You know what I mean? Because obviously we know this country is. It's in a little rut right now, you know, especially with the communities, how people treat each other, how people are looking at the whole of the government, and it's like, dude, the government let everyone down, and everyone should already know that. Like, especially like looking at the Indians, like, you know what I mean? The Indians are the first ones to show you the government does not give a fuck about human life. So it's like, what makes you think that's going to change for you now? You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like what he was saying about earlier, like, these guys have always fucking been like kind of take you out kind of guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, what makes you think all of a sudden they're just going to like, oh no, when it's like they've been plotting this. You know what I mean? That's what I was talking with my wife today about, like, these guys have been plotting it before they even came on the shores. Like, they were plotting to take this shit over.
Yeah, it's systematic work.
Yeah.
You know, people get plugged into a system. They don't even know why that system is what it is, why it works well, or where it came from. They just know that's the system.
Yeah.
It works. I'm sure you learned that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You don't. It's nothing personal. It's just a system. This is how you do it, and you'll learn why it's important later.
I grew up outside the system too because I was just such a loner. I'd like stay in the woods. So I always felt like an alien. So I was always like, this shit just seems fucking weird. Like, I like climbing a tree and hanging out and being in nature. And now I'm in these like places and people are trying to tell me what to think. I'm like already connected with my own thoughts. Like, all these things you're trying to teach me as an adult, as a kid, I'm just like, I already figured this shit out. So like when they're trying to say things at me, I'm like, it's not real. So I just stayed kind of on the outskirts, you know, and that's why I always just found my connection where it is in nature, you know, in the woods, in the forest, in the mountains.
I think that's the human connection, and I think as natives we have that connection. Like, it's really recent for us, so we can describe that connection. We can explain the connection. We have the ceremonies still that show us that connection. Because I talk to people from different parts of the world. Obviously, their ancestors come from different parts of the world. I have a diverse group of friends. But it's like I see a lot of people that their people have been so disconnected for so many centuries and even thousands of years now, that there is like a craving, or like I use the word yearning. I don't know. It sounds like a novel, but like there's like wanting to connect.
There's an emptiness.
An emptiness. Yeah, they want to connect. And I think if you're from Northern Europe or something like that, your people aren't that far from it. So you kind of have that. You feel it, that you need it, but you don't have it. So where do you go to fill that? And I think that's why they have all those powwows in northern part of Germany and all the different European powwows. They're Indians are all mad. They're stealing our stuff. They're this and that. And it's like, they are, but I kind of get it, because it's like they've lost that connection. They feel it through our ways. And it's kind of like, damn,
I always say, shit, if I was a native, I'd want to be native. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you get born out in some other body, and you're like, no, I'm native. I can feel it. It's a rough one, because you don't want no one appropriating. You definitely don't want someone benefiting off of it and not giving it back to the original. That's what I trip out with the whole peyote thing and the psychedelic movement, because it's like, dude, there's so many natives who've seen miracles with this peyote, and for you to just toss checks and cash and be like, yo, we're teaming up with UPS, and we're gonna fucking billionaire this. It's like, bro, like, what about these people who've literally seen miracles, and you're going to just shit on them because you got money, when it's like, you should be tossing these people millions of dollars to fucking not only help them out, but to show you how to really use this medicine. That's why I like what I'm doing. Because that's why I had another podcast today with some guy, and he's like, well, what do you got to say at the end? I was like, I was on at the end of this mushroom movement, this psychedelic movement. I was like, there's going to be a lot of mushroom cats. Just make sure you pick the right one.
Yeah.
I already know a few, and I shit you not, it's getting wild out there.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be popping up all over. You're going to see it popping up.
And that's why, like, I'm glad I'm trying to build me, like, a solid-ass team of bros, whether it's native, vets, you name it. It's
all
like,
these healthy guys.
Yeah, because it's like, I want... that's what I said that ceremony. I was like, oh, you guys inspire me. You guys are running. You guys are lifting. I'm like... I'm just a dad over here.
You got some really in-shape dudes around here. I've noticed that.
And that's why I was just like, fuck, I need to get my shit together, because I can't be being this healer and being all fucking...
Not healed.
Or people being like, hey, what about you? It's like, shit, man. Medicine man's got to eat. Nah.
But I sound like a real parent right now, but you really are a lot like who you surround yourself with. So you surround yourself with a bunch of people that are eating good, working out, trying to do positive things. You tend to do that stuff too, just because you're there, It's like, if you're around people that are eating like crap or trying to do bad things, you're probably going to
jump in there a few times.
Give me that donut. I guess we got a dozen. I don't want to help you by yourself.
Might as well eat that.
I was telling him I wanted to bring you some donuts. I was like, I got bring Ross some donuts.
Before I got here, someone gave me a box. I was like, I really don't need those.
I was like, I was going to bring Ross some donuts. I was like, fucking fat.
But I know that as humans are all very similar, is because when those guys stormed the Capitol, I got all mad. I was like, that guy's wearing a Native American hat. He's appropriating our stuff. No, it was a Viking hat. He was trying to be Northern European. I was like, I guess we are kind of similar to it. Our headdresses are similar.
Yeah. There's a music group called Heilung, like Heilung, out of I think Norway.
Yeah.
And they're like their roots and how they come out is pretty cool. It's interesting to watch some of their stuff. Yeah.
Pretty similar.
You
like
got
that.
them on YouTube. Yeah, they got some good stuff.
So when you had your first experience, was that prior to this guy, or did you kind of come in a circle? Okay.
Prior, yeah, I kind of like I didn't in my past. I didn't really partake in anything. Like I never really smoked or anything.
Yeah.
And then like after service, like our medicine basically is alcohol, right? That's what they give you. So that's what people abuse. You know, you can abuse it. Like you can use alcohol like anything, but it's just been so abused that people just like do all the fucked up shit because of alcohol. Like they get out of their mind and then they do stupid shit that they regret, and then they go into these patterns of behavior. And anyway, so my buddy's like, hey, did you ever try mushrooms? I'm like, no. And I'm like, I'll try them for sure. And then we went out and walked around like this golf course at night, and I was just like, had this real familiar feeling. I'm like, man, I've been here before. Like this is like just out in nature. And I'm like, I can see like the personality of the earth, like through the trees, through the grass, through the hills, you know, through the waters, just through the night sky, through everything. And I'm like, man, this is like just like being a kid again, sitting in the trees and looking up at the night sky and being connected to God without even that word needing to be in the equation, like beyond all the words, you know. And so as soon as I like recognize that, I'm like, there's some like real magic here. They're called magic mushrooms for a fucking reason, because it opens doors, you know, and you can reignite passion and lust for life. And yeah, that's what it did. And so, you know, I've been to different like ceremonies from the jungle, like ayahuasca and the Sonoran desert toad, and worked with many different medicines. And the one thing that's similar is like these things, like we weaponize these things by calling them drugs without an understanding, but these substances are of the earth and of the creator, and they're here for us. Like even when we're talking about cannabis, right? We have receptors for those. So it's, you can't really even become intoxicated like you can on alcohol. You because your body's absorbing. It's like eating too much steak, you know? You're like, whew, you have that kind of feeling, but it's not damaging you. Like alcohol is like damaging your organs. And, you know, it's sad to see a lot of bros just abuse that, or same thing with like pain meds, you know, because you get a lot of injuries and then that's the thing. Or when you get out as a veteran, they're like, hey, here's these antipsychotic meds. You're like, what the fuck? Like, why? And they're literally like pushing this shit on people. They're like, oh, do you have any anxiety, any of this? Like things that would be normal for someone coming out of any kind of traumatic experience. And then the question is yes or something. Then like, well, here, try this. And I remember looking at the bottle. I'm like, what is this? And I go to antipsychotic. I'm like, I'm not psychotic. Like, why don't they just try it? It's worked for other things too. And I'm like, on the bottle, it's like side effects, literally suicide.
Yeah, man.
Side effects of coming off, literally like suicidal ideation. It says it on the fucking bottle of the shit that they're handing out to people, and then you wonder why 22 a day is happening. It's because the fucking system is the pusher of bad medicine, and then they're trying to just block out like good shit, which is part of the good medicine is doing it in a community setting, you know, and that's why obviously, as you guys know, the ceremonies exist, but it's a foreign concept to like a lot of people because they had those ties cut. But it's like being there together as a human being, even to like witness someone go through their shit, even if you're not going through it, and just to be there for them and be like, hey man, we got your back. Do you need anything? Like give them a blanket or something, and just hanging out and having compassion, right? Having compassion for a fellow human being. And that in itself, beyond any of the plants, is
so. Was that different
powerful.
from your first experience when you're just kind of trying it as to like what you're doing now? Was there a big contrast?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, but you know, for me, it's all a lot of it's intention and how you use things. Like if someone's going with a party mode, then it's no different than they do anything with a party mode. You know, you could like do it with whatever, like pick up a knife and be stupid with a knife. But it's also a tool that you can use to like harvest meat or to create something, like create a bow or anything, like create other tools with it. So learning how to use these substances, which is what the ceremonies have, and there's, you know, many different ceremonies from around the world, but they all are a skill with using a tool that comes from nature. And So it is a different game, especially when you come in with with that intention, like, hey, I'm intending to do this, and I'm praying with this substance, and I'm just focused and meditating on this thing, and you answer a lot of questions that people run around life being like, oh, I wish I had answers to this. Well, if you get out of your head and show up for yourself and for your community and just kind of just go through an experience, then you get a lot of that stuff answered. Again, like beyond what words can say, I try to do a good job with my writings and like expressing things, but there's nothing I can do to compare to the experience itself,
You said you tried ayahuasca and some of those other ones out there.
Yeah.
Did you see like the little men and stuff like that?
No, I never see it. That's,
you know what I'm talking about? I've heard of that. I've heard people say they've had. I've heard people say they've had like been taking it with others and they've all had the same exact experience.
Yeah, well,
that's weird to me.
There are collective experience and different substances tap you into different energies essentially. But if everyone can relate to dreaming. Like you go to sleep and your consciousness goes from this brainwave state to your sleeping brainwave state, and what that is like your literal conscious energy is vibrating differently, so you're experiencing a different dimension of reality called the dream world. But people, the West is like they go at it with such a science-y perspective, like, well, that's just in your imagination. Well, so is fucking this shit. You know what I mean? We're a bunch of like molecules vibrating energy, but we're here. It's real, and it's just as real in these other dimensions. But it's hard because people haven't experienced.
Never been there.
Yeah.
Do you think that the United States government would ever, they're giving out those pills? You think they would ever do that with mushrooms? You think that would ever come?
It's common because of how, especially on like the VA side, because of how much positive benefit there is. And when you come into like people talk about a bad trip or something, really what that is like some shit you didn't want to deal with, but part of the healing is confronting your shit and dealing with it, so then you're not hanging on to it all the time. But so because you can't abuse it, like you could eat mushrooms until your stomach is full and you'll have an experience, and you could do that every day, but the way it works is like you'll have less, so you can't, it's non-addictive by its very nature, and it's not, it's work to eat it, it's work to consume.
And mostly I'm pretty sure people come to the Womkish, I'm pretty sure you're not gonna want to abuse that shit. I'm pretty sure you go through a Womkish, you're not gonna be like, damn, I need to take this every day.
It's work. You need time to reflect. You need time to integrate the lessons that you learn in that environment.
Have you had anybody come in like just like you had to kick them out of there or anything?
No, but we've had experiences where people have gone to extremes, not like crazy, but for someone who's never seen it would be like, what the fuck is going on right now? What are you doing? What did you do to him? And it's like, no, man. Like for me, it's part of ceremony. Like, and it's just part of the work. Like I say, if you're a real healer, man, sorry, you got to be in the shitter because you're dealing with traumas. You're dealing with people's demons. You're dealing with people's addictions. You're dealing with people's minds. You're dealing with uncertainty. So it's like, man, gonna have to deal with it, you know what I mean? Just like if like I'm pretty sure, like you said, you go into a gunfight, you cannot expect to not get shot. You know what I mean? You might not, but you can't sit there and be like, I'm never gonna get shot. Like, motherfucker, you might get shot. Just like in this, you might have a breakdown, especially if you haven't like confronted yourself. You know what I mean? Or you've come to terms with like some of the things that you suppress, whether it's how you feel as a man or a woman, whether it's how you look at things, or whatever. It could come up, So for me, it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have a beautiful experience every time." Fuck no, hell no. As the man who runs it, it ain't ever beautiful all the time. So it's like
nothing is.
Well, there's beauty in the confronting the dark stuff,
working of it is
and healing it.
So what would a typical or an average like experience look like for somebody? Like I've never seen anything like that. So what would that look like from an average? I know it's kind of a hard question because everyone's probably unique, I imagine. But what is a typical person? They just kind of sit there staring off, or do they?
It depends on the person. It depends pretty much how grounded you are, because there's people that could walk out. There's people that could be all in the dirt. There's people who could be in their face. There's people who could
literally laying in the dirt.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah.
People cry.
Yeah.
Get
Oh, yeah.
emotional.
Oh,
People
yeah.
get angry.
Yeah.
People start yelling and screaming.
Oh, yeah.
That crazy
yeah.
experience you talk about, or the extreme
last two
the Delta
ceremonies.
Yeah.
People yelling around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At the top of their lungs. Like, yeah.
And it's good to happen there because that energy is being released in that space, whereas they've been carrying that with them for however long. And it's like, you know, everyone can know, like, if you go to the gym or whatever, you lift some weights, it's a way of, like, releasing energy.
Yeah.
You know
People yelling there, think nothing of it.
Yeah, but then
I'm
like,
excuse me, I'm trying to lift here quietly.
Yeah.
You got that one guy. That's Shane. No, I was kidding.
And that's why we tell my family, like I tell my family already, like, you know, there's people who've peed themselves, they poop, they throw up, you know, it's happened. And I was like, so I let my family know, kind of like, because that's what like Boog told me when I talked to him about it. He's like, you know, whether it's your clan or what, you need to let them know what you're doing, because you don't want your people kind of going against you for your work. So he's like, let your people know, like, what's gonna happen, you know, or what's going on. So I always told my family, you know, I got the gate set up, we got a lock, and I just let them know, you know, when I have guys over, like, we're having ceremony, you know. So it's pretty cool that the family's involved. My aunt actually came and helped me out last time, and it's cool to just see, you know, the community come by and be like, oh, how was it? You know, how'd things go? And it's like, it's pretty cool to see it.
You see anyone taking an
back.
interest, possibly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If not an interest, at least in the interest of seeing the amount of people that come by. You know what I mean? Not saying like they're like, oh, I want to go in there, but just seeing like people constantly come by. They're like, okay, like something's going on there. You know what I mean? Because if it was that bad, people wouldn't be showing up. You know what I mean? People would be like, oh, fuck that. Like, don't go there. That place is bad, like that. But no, everyone's like, that's just beautiful. It's powerful. It's something else. You know what I mean? I've never heard someone be like, oh, fuck that. Everyone comes back. You know what I mean? And it's like, here's another brother who shows up. So it's
that was
like,
another question. Have you had people go like, we're not coming back? Have you had some of that? Or most everybody's kind of come and stayed? And
I've had the egos come in where people's egos get scared. But other than that, no, everyone who's been more so to say like they're in, they show up or they partake. You know what I mean? I haven't had, you know, one thing, and I'm not going to say there's not going to be, but that's the thing, is I'm not shooting for bad experiences. I'm shooting for honest healing experiences for people, because I know, like, that's what I'm going through, and I want to offer that to people too. Like, why the fuck am I going to lie to you? You know what I mean? I can, but then I'm going to be looking like a mega jackass because it's myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and put up a front, especially when, like, I have my own people, especially the last person of the Wamkish, like, giving me these, you know, pretty much green lights to work with it. So it's like, for me, I'm not looking for respect, but I'm looking for the mutual respect from tribal leaders to say, like, we don't have medicine people, but we do now, and maybe it's time to start investing in our cultural and spiritual healing again, because, like, I just don't care. Without our spirituality and ceremonies, we're going to the shitter. Like, no matter what, like, we don't have our core values of our ceremonies within the Creator and Mother Earth, like we've been seeing all the people dying so far. To me, it's only going to get worse if people don't buck up, whether it's a man or a woman. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just going to get worse, and no one else is going to care, because to me, they're waiting for that, because it's just land for them. This is just public development for them. This is just more resources to fuel their machines. So, like, to me, it's like they're counting on it. They're depending on it. So for me, it's like, well, let's hand it to them in a good way and say, like, motherfucker, you try to destroy us, you try to wipe us out, you try to take away our culture, our songs, our relationship to the Creator and Mother Earth. Like, no, how dare you? How dare you do that to anyone? You know what I mean? And that's why I say, like, for us, I think we could be a role model for not just Indians, but for everybody to, like, want to reclaim back their identity as people. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, I know a lot of people want to fucking find Creator and Mother Earth. You know what I mean? I just know it. Like, I mean, and for those that don't, that's not my problem. Like I said, I'm not here to worry about the weeds. I'm here to worry about those that want to grow. You know what I mean? The weeds can always get cut down and burnt up. You know, it's going to be there. Weeds are going to be there.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah. So it's
they don't take care of them.
So it's like, for me,
true.
I just want to work on the growing.
Find a way.
Yeah, I just want to work on the growing and fucking give my kids the right to ceremony, because losing my father and not being around ceremony, like, and now having ceremony, fuck yeah, I want every native boy and girl to be able to have the ceremony and be able to pray without the tribe or the fucking feds trying to fuck with them. Like, every damn native kid and boy and girl, man, woman, young and old, should have the right to pray and goddamn get down with their ceremonies. Sure. You know?
One thing I like though is like it sounds like you guys got a good brotherhood or whoever's out there. You guys take care of each other. Got a good circle.
No, that's one thing I
cool.
like about the Womkish because it really teaches you how to be there and be accountable even through the shitter. Like I said, even though shit's tough, like it doesn't mean you can't be there for someone. It doesn't mean you can't help someone. Even if you don't know, you could still be there. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, our last ceremony, I had a guy, brother Punky was going through it. I didn't know exactly what he was going through, but just by being there and knowing that my other brothers were there to be there in case, just like I woke up my brother Mark and said, hey, brother, if he needs help, I need your help. I need you to help me out, and I need you to help me with him if we need to pick him up or we need to help him out. So it's like it's cool to hold each other accountable because I feel like if we don't, first of all, if we don't do it ourselves, then who the hell's gonna do it? So that's why I like kind of checking up on each other in there because then it's like it kind of creates that like, oh, I need to be aware, I need to be present, and I need to like accentuate what's going on because I may be going through it, but I still need to make sure because like I said, it's fucking cold out there. People can get sick. I had one bro laying in the damn fire, so it's like there's things that really go down.
You guys connect outside of Womkish? You guys become kind of friends? Everybody kind of becoming friends a little bit and getting to know each other a little bit?
Yeah.
I imagine it's real intimate.
Yeah, because
really going through with each other.
Before it's already we're already together. We're setting up. We're traveling up the mountain. We're cutting the cedar. We're if someone's cutting this, someone's getting the tarp, someone's setting up this. So it's like we're all trying to hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? And if it's not me, because like I said, I'm not the kind of guy to be on everyone's ass. Like, hey, you better get this. Yeah. And that's why I like being around older men that, like I said, brothers who come from discipline and work. Because it's like you get another young cat, they're just going to be like, what do I do? What do I do with this? But it's like you get people who come from work. It's like everyone knows what to do. You know what I mean? Everyone knows how to get to work and get something going or fucking at least contribute instead of staying there. So it's like in that time,
then you guys bonding,
exactly. We build it, we clean it out, we go get everything, and then we're having our smoke, we're doing our thing, and then like I said, we have dinner, and then we'll share a dinner, and then in that dinner we go over protocol. It's just like all right, and then all right, y'all, we're about to go. Hey, you know what I mean? It's like we're prepping that whole time, and now it's like.
That's pretty cool, man. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. One of these days I gotta get over there too.
Yeah, and you don't even need to take medicine. I tell people just to come in and go sit in, take the medicine, and not take it, but pick it. Like the cedars, the sages. Like I've had my brothers, I've had my wife, I had other people's women's in there, and without medicine, it's like because I always say just to be there, like you're gonna see it. You're gonna see that fire. You're gonna see it because it's real. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you're doing it, man. Yeah. And I'm glad guys like, Mr. Matt's here. Mark, you can, you have benefit from that, and thank you for your service and everything, I want to make sure I say that before I forget. But I just know there's a real need out there, and it's not for everybody, like you said, but for people that could help, man, you're doing the work. You guys are doing a good thing.
Yeah. It's honorable too. Like I'm honored to be, to be a part of it too, and to just be present when other people are going through their healing and to share it because, like we said earlier, we've seen people go out, in different ways, and this is literally helping people find passion for life, which, I mean, really what's more important than that for people? If someone's just about to leave this earth by their own hand and something gives them a passion to not do that and they become a better person and be a better father and better family, better brother, son, whatever, daughter, like, why is that bad?
Yeah, how is that bad?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's sometimes people don't think of those terms. They don't want to demonize or talk bad. It's like, okay, well, what's the opposite? You know what I mean? Like, I learned that. It's like, I don't know, somebody gets with somebody. Oh, I don't like that person. Well, I mean, at least they're not alone. Like you got to always think of what's the opportunity cost? You know what I mean? What's the other option? And if the other option's taking your own life, I would rather see somebody go down this road or any other road to try to do something, to stay alive and to live a fulfilled life. And if this is, like you're saying, man.
And you don't have to understand it as a person on the outside, but you should at least respect it because people are getting real healing and people are, it's worthy of respect if nothing else.
Yeah, and the people coming to get the healing, not putting down their traumas, but are coming for some hard traumas, you know what I mean? Like, and for them to, like, that's what my bro was always saying about Brother Mark here is, like, for him to do the work he did and then to still come back and, like, express, like, the amount of love and gratitude and, like, it's fucking tight because, like, he even knows many people that are still in that mode, that still come home, still wounded, hurt, and acting out, whatever, messing up. But it's like a good bro here, you know, trying to take care of himself, you know, his woman, you know, the work he's doing. It's like, honorable, bro. And give that to
Honor,
you.
brother. Yeah,
I love it.
for
There's
sure.
a lot of fucking people, and you
That's
too,
cool,
Raw,
man.
as a native, bro, fucking
There we go.
making it out here. Like, you know how
Three-way.
hard it is on the res, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And to be putting out these messages, that's why I want to come out here, man, because it's like, you know, real shit. And people need to hear real shit. People need to stop hearing all the bullshit. Like,
Yeah, I got to open your mind. I'm telling you, dude, I was like that. I was like real preachy on this stuff. Oh, they don't need me, blah, 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 blah. Even though like all my friends, people around me, you know, are all doing different things. They're doing it recreationally. But I was always so negative on it until, I mean, it took some education. It really took me to have a hurt arm and to use that CBD.
Yeah.
And then I start to like, well, maybe this isn't all bad. And then it's been a time now of learning and seeing it, you know, and all that kind of stuff where, and again, I don't do these things. So it's not like I have any, like, I'm not trying to tell somebody, do what I'm doing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
I'm just a real like, outside source or outside party looking at these things, very non-biased, and can say there's something here that is of value. And it's like, you know, you see people like you guys all the time that are just, they're getting real value out of, I guess it's called alternative medicine, but really for us, it's ancient stuff.
Yeah,
you know, these are old
original.
ways.
That's
what I'm trying to
original.
tell.
Original.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell a native
It's not
community
alternative.
is like,
Yeah.
Original.
you know,
Original.
we can really ride with this wave
Heck
because
yeah.
we're the original people. We come from
Yeah.
plants. We come from ceremony. So it's like, if anyone's going to fit that model, it's going to be goddamn native, you know, not
That's
some goddamn culture appropriator who's like, oh, I'm a shaman. Like, come over here, bro. I can heal you. Like,
Did you see that
let
guy
me do
by the way,
this.
in the Capitol with the hat, by the way?
Yeah.
He said he wasn't going to eat unless he wanted shaman food. I was like, what in the
Right.
world?
Shaman food.
What's a shaman diet? I didn't know what that was. That just
Of
cracked
this-
me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
But there's
like,
a lot of false prophets out there.
We can really be at the
Yes.
forefront. And like I said, that's what I was telling Mark, because we work at the federal level. If we were to be the first tribe, any of us here, to gain like momentum to be the first tribe to use psilocybin mushrooms for mental health, fucking huge. Huge, like history huge, because now that we're federally cleared, that means any scientist or any medical field can come and do research and pay top dollar because they don't have to be scared about getting. For instance, there's a reason why big pharma can't research right now, because it's fucking illegal.
Yeah.
But like I said, if we were to get granted like peyote with mushrooms, that means the top medical and sciences would, let's say like you were the head of it for the Rez, they could come up to you and be like, yo, like we'll give you $1 billion to do fucking mushroom research and like test out what's going on, and we'll come with the best medical research, best medical team. So that way, like I said, then it could be fine tuned. So that way it could be packaged for people, right? Versus like, because I'm not saying my method is raw, but it's raw because I know for some people, like, I just gonna give them fucking like 20 mushrooms, you know what I'm saying? And like just be like, oh yeah, you know, try to swim in the ocean without drowning. It's like, you know, it's like some people need some work, whether it be a microdose, whether it be infusing like lion's mane, cordyceps, just to get the mind, you know, back into a regenerative state to like rebuild these cells and rebuild these neurons and connections. So like for me, that's why I want to work with like scientists and things, because for me, like me and him both already know this shit works, but it's like I'm trying to get to the point to where someone who doesn't can make them feel more comfortable, to where it's like, hey, you know, there is data, there's proof, it's backed, yada, 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 yada. And if not, it's cool, but I want to be able to have strong meds. That's why I say meds too strong, because it's like I want fucking clean-cut meds. There's no reason why we should be having shitty medicine. There's no reason why we should be taking shit medicine. Just like there's no reason people should be smoking whack weed. Like you should be smoking the best weed you can.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Especially if you're in California, man.
Yeah. Same thing with water. You should be drinking spring water, not fucking
Toxic
treated
water with
reverse osmosis shit water. You know, what I mean?
chlorine, stuff you put in your iron.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm trying to take this, is like not just mushrooms, but a whole ramp up of overall Indian health. Like I said, we can create a new model of Indian health for sure.
Right on, man. Well, with that, I want to thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate you guys taking time, drop in. I want to know how you guys were doing. I know I've been seeing you guys out there in the cold getting it done. But, yeah, we'll have to get back together sometime this summer maybe, you know, later on down the line. And let's keep this conversation going, you know, so people can have an understanding, you know, and see the benefits of it, you know. I'm glad you're able to come in and kind of share some of that also.
For sure.
Because people need to hear that. They need to hear it. So I appreciate it. Live from the Rez. Thank you. Holla.